Welcome to Baseball This Week, a Spotlight production. And here's your host, Jim Stark.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome to our second edition of the Baseball This Week. I'm joined, of course, by my co-host, Rob, Boston Rob. How are you, Rob?
I'm doing good, man. Looking forward to today's show. Good to be back with you here on Facebook Live, YouTube, or wherever you're listening to your podcast. Glad to have you along. We're going to have some great baseball talk today.
Well, we're jumping a day ahead today. Normally, we're going to be on Wednesday evenings. Today, we're going to be on the afternoon, live, anyways, because we have a scheduling conflict. But we're going to talk.
Yeah, that was my bad. That's
all right. Hey, Rob. We live with we like you. You're part of the team. So if you want to do it 2 o'clock in the morning, we'll do it 2 o'clock in the morning. How's that?
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
But what didn't change with our schedule, though, is the fact that Rob and I, are both fans of two of the hottest teams in baseball. Is that correct? Do I have that right?
Correct. That is correct.
And of course,
the Detroit Tigers. We got to start with them. Holy smoke!
Wow, what another big win last night. I'll tell you, Rob, this team is winning with clutch hits.
Yes.
Defense,
yes,
and good pitching.
Good pitching.
Isn't that the oldest recipe there is for success in baseball?
Absolutely correct. And I love the bounce back. Usually, they lost the last game of the series with the St. Louis Cardinals, and I wanted to see how they would respond, right?
Right.
And did they respond in a big way last night. So a great win, back on the winning track, and lo and behold, they are now officially in second place.
By a half a game, and they're only 2 games. If they sweep the Guardians, they have a night game tonight, which of course is Tuesday, and a day game tomorrow. They could be at 500 and in second place solidly.
Yeah, and I know what people are saying, right? I
It's
understand.
early.
It's early. And look at the division, right? But that's not the Tigers. Well, that's not the Tigers' fault.
All you can do is play where they give you. You can't change that.
Correct.
And you know what? If I have a weak division, great. I will take advantage of it. I'm not going to say bring in another good team because I'm. What, you think there's pride in here or something, or there's some honor in being a great division? How do you think right now the New York Yankees feel being a game?
If you would have told me that the Tigers would have been in second place right now in their division and the Yankees dead last in a very tough AL East, I still would have said you're crazy. Right?
Ask the Yankees, would they rather be in their division or in the Central Division? Right?
Yeah, absolutely correct.
So all you can do is play the division you have. But what we're seeing again is some very fundamental sound baseball. We're not seeing spectacular plays. Well, a few. But you don't see one guy on fire carrying the team. You see everybody contributing.
Yes.
And I will say one thing. One of my 3 up, 3 down this week, I'll give you a hint, is going to be the young man who played in Cuba and was a signee on the offseason, Andy Ibanez, who actually played in the World Baseball Classic for Cuba.
Yeah.
He has been a solid addition to this Tiger lineup.
Absolutely correct. And when you look, I'm going to bring up a name that everybody's been worried about, Spencer Torkelson. He is slowly now starting to develop a little bit. I'm anxious to see if he is in your 3 up.
He is not.
He is not.
He's not. He's
creeping.
He's not in my 3 down.
Okay.
So that's an improvement, right? So he's somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Last week he was squarely in the 3 down, but we'll talk more about the overall progress of the team. You've got averages starting to creep up, RBIs starting to creep up, home runs starting to creep up a little bit. But most importantly, I think the most impressive thing about this team is the back end of the bullpen.
Oh, yeah, and it has been if you look at it for a while, right?
Yeah, Jason Foley and Alex Lang have probably been as good as any 1-2 punch in the back of the bullpen of any team in Major League Baseball.
All-star caliber at this moment.
Absolutely.
All-star caliber.
And if you remember when Scott Harris first took over, when he became the Tigers president and chief bottle washer, said, we are going to control the strike zone. We're gonna own the strike zone. Okay.
Are we starting to see that a little bit? Relief pitching, yes.
I think so.
Starting pitching, what do you think?
Well, Edgar Rodriguez is certainly owning the strike zone.
Yes,
he's one of the best pitchers in baseball right now.
Yeah.
The bullpen pounding the strike zone late, not even giving the other teams a chance to breathe. That's what we're talking about from a pitching standpoint. So definitely we still see some innings where we have but we're not seeing what we had with Gregory Soto, where we saw 2 walks to lead the 9th inning.
Right.
We're seeing
it's quite different.
We're seeing pitchers come in throwing strikes, forcing. I've seen Rob 2 in this last 3 or 4 games, 2 at bats where the pitchers went to 10 pitches and just kept throwing strike after strike after strike, and both times they got the opponent out.
What do you know?
So, yeah, you don't walk guys, look what happens, right?
Exactly correct.
So that's a real plus, I think. Obviously, defensively, now they've had a couple poor games, but overall, defensively, this team has been very solid. I think Spencer Torkelson has been a real plus at first base, without a question. I think Baez at shortstop, Baez at shortstop has become much more consistent. He still makes the fabulous play, but he's not blowing the easy ones quite as much.
Right. The big concern with Javi Baez to me was the offense. As soon as he came to Detroit, really, his defense has been good to great. And that wasn't my major concern with him, through this last season and into the beginning of this season. And boy, has he turned the offense around.
Well, and it's how he's done it too.
Yes,
Rob. Not just going out there and getting big home runs. No. He has cut down the strikeouts.
I was going to say, is he becoming patient at the plate?
He went 50 at bats without a strikeout. And for him, that's like a year.
That's like a whole season.
Yeah.
Sure.
So he's definitely become more disciplined, and a lot of it can be traced to when he was benched by manager A.J. Hinch a few weeks ago
in Toronto
for not running out, or for
that's where really
running with have no idea how many outs there were.
Right, and that's really not only for him individually, but as I stated in our first show, that's really for the whole team.
Oh, yeah.
It could have galvanized the team, or it really could have went sideways for the Tigers more so than what it was, but it really has put this team together. So a great move by Hinge, and it's paying off.
And you know what? It also what it was what he didn't do. He waited until the end of the inning. He didn't embarrass him by hauling him off the field like he might have. He waited an inning, talked to him first, then made the change.
Professional way of doing it.
Exactly. Versus, coming out unglued and having a heart attack on the bench and some kind of a scene.
Yeah.
And think about now.
Like a Lou Piniella scene.
Exactly.
Well,
this. And I want to touch on this. I know we're jumping sports, but when you talk about what happened with Matt Ishbia.
Oh, boy.
Okay,
yeah.
What happens on a bench now during a game in the stands because of all the different outlets now, media outlets and social media, those things get played and played and played.
You're not safe. You're never safe.
If Hinge would have had a scene with Baez in the dugout over that decision to pull him out, that would have been on every sports center, every highlight show. Plus, it would have been social media to death.
Yeah, but if it worked, it worked.
But no,
you know what I mean? They
didn't have that.
They didn't have that.
He had it, did it professionally, took him out down in the dugout tunnel, did the business. He came out.
And Javi Baez didn't pitch a fit, at least what we saw.
Exactly.
I'm sure he was upset, but he kept himself in composure.
Yep.
And it was just done all around professional. So, well done.
Yep. And you know what? And when you're building a team, when you're trying to build a team's credibility, you're trying to build a team's spirit, you're trying to build the way we run our team, it's the little things. It's not the big things. It's the little things. It's treating people with respect.
And when you look at it, Javi Baez is looked upon, no matter how bad he's struggled offensively, he is looked upon as a leader on this team.
He's the biggest, other than Miguel Cabrera, he's the biggest salary. He's the most honored, been to All-Star games.
Yep.
So he is the on the field leader, and people take their tone from the leaders. If he's going to come off and throw a hissy fit and show up the manager, that's what the teammates see. What they saw was him act like a professional, take his medicine, and most importantly, come back and improve his play. That's what's really sending the message.
Yes, absolutely.
So now you got guys like Spencer Torkelson, Riley Green. These young guys are seeing that. Okay, so now we're starting to see the leadership of Javi Baez make a difference. So it's been nothing but positive this week. We'll talk a little bit about the Red Sox later on in the hour. But
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, they're a hot team right now.
They are.
Right? So we got. All right, so we'll take a break. We'll come back. Our special guest today here on our second edition of Baseball This Week is somebody who is well steeped in baseball his whole life in the state of Michigan. He's down the road at Michigan State now, the head baseball coach, Jake Boss. We'll talk to him and much more on This Week in Baseball This Week right here on the Spotlight Media Network.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal made just for you, let our team member Jacob share what's special about Culver's.
In Wisconsin, our food comes from the heart, and taking the time to handcraft your meal with care is how we've always done it at Culver's. It's why your Butterburger doesn't touch the grill until after you order.
Come to Culver's and let us serve you a Butterburger, made special just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Time for a career change? Looking to make a difference? Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our dedicated team of school bus professionals. Dean Transportation has immediate openings and offers paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license. With increased starting pay, benefit packages, flexible scheduling with weekday hours, and more, Dean Transportation may be the career choice for you. No experience needed. Apply now and train all summer. Head to deanjobs.com.
April's full of adventure and winning at Firekeepers. It's the Get Out and Go RV giveaway on Saturdays, April 15th and 29th. 2 huge drawing days, $300,000 in prizes, including a fully loaded motor coach and more. The first big drawings are on Saturday, April 15th. You could win a pop-up camper, a deluxe travel trailer, or thousands in Red Hot credits to spin and win some more. On April 29th, you can win a share of $55,000 in Red Hot credits, a pop-up camper, a travel trailer, or the grand prize, a motor coach RV. It's the $300,000 Get Out and Go RV giveaway on Saturdays, April 15th and 29th. The best giveaways, the biggest guaranteed prizes, only at Firekeepers. Get your Vegas on at Firekeepers Casino Hotel, I-94 to exit 104 in Battle Creek. Management reserves all rights.
Welcome back to our second edition of Baseball This Week here in the Spotlight Media Network. I'm Jim Stark along with Boston Rob. Rob, thanks again for all you do to get this thing going technically. We couldn't do it without you, obviously.
I appreciate it.
But as we said last week when we talked about our show, we're going to cover more than just the Tigers and the Red Sox and the things that Rob and I like. Obviously, baseball around in these parts is dominated not only by the high school, which is going in great guns, but obviously over at Michigan State. They've got a great facility, got a great program over the years, great tradition. But we're joined now by the head baseball coach of the Spartans, Jake Boss. How are you, Jake?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
Well, Coach, you and I have actually crossed paths before. When you were at Eastern Michigan in the late 90s, early 2000s, I was with WTKA in Ann Arbor. And I hosted all the coaches' shows for Eastern Michigan. I did the football coaches' show and the basketball coaches' show.
Outstanding.
So
we had a good time at Eastern Michigan back in the day.
The late Ben Braun years. I think that you were there when Ben Braun was still basketball coach, correct?
I think his last year there was my first year there.
Okay,
yeah.
that was great. And then when the following regime, Milton Barnes came in, that was some more 4 good years. So yeah, those years were really productive in basketball, and it was fun to be around the team. And so I was there a lot, but I know we met in passing at least. But obviously, Eastern Michigan had a great tradition in baseball, going back to Ron Ostrike. So you got some pretty good training ground there coming through the MAC.
I did. I was fortunate to kind of land at Eastern Michigan after working 2 years at a junior college in Iowa, and Roger Coryell was the head coach there. He was the guy that hired me, and Coach Ostrike was still around every day. He still had an office in Bowen Fieldhouse there, and so he was a legend in the game, and had a chance to pick his brain on a daily basis, and actually took over his coaching theory of coaching baseball class when he decided to retire. So yeah, we've got a lot of fond memories about living in Ypsilanti, and really, again, it's a special place to me and my family.
Well, Coach, obviously, Coach Izzo's a big favorite around here on the Spotlight Media Network, and we know he's a frustrated football coach. We know that, right? He's a basketball coach who wants to be a football coach. So does he also want to be a baseball coach? Does he have some of that in him?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, he keeps telling me that it's 72 degrees and sunny every time they play, and he's right. He's not wrong on that one. But he loves baseball. He's come out to see our guys play. He's come out to talk to our team, and he's a big baseball fan. I ran into him the other day, and he's following what we're doing, and he takes an interest in our guys and what they're doing. So it's great to have his support for sure.
Well, you two have a lot in common too. You're both Michigan-born, Michigan-bred, the state of Michigan, and your whole coaching careers have taken place pretty much in the state of Michigan. So that's two things you guys have in common too.
It is, yeah. I left for 2 years to work at a junior college in Iowa, like I said. But apart from that, I've been in the state my entire career. So it's and to get the job here at Michigan State, it was something pretty special for me. 15 years ago, growing up here in Lansing and being a Lansing Everett grad, and coming to Michigan State, baseball, football, basketball, hockey games ever since I was a little kid. I remember games when Carl Banks was a middle linebacker here at Michigan State, and guys like that, and so pretty great experience for me and my family for sure.
Coach, you talked about the history that you have with Eastern Michigan, but Michigan State itself has had quite the history with Eastern Michigan. Eric Roof, a former player here at Michigan State, an assistant under you, now there coaching. You had Mark Vandermeer, the pitching coach with you, was there coaching with Eastern Michigan. How important is that relationship, and also with Western and Central also, don't want to leave them out, as far as just combining all three schools and making sure that all three schools are able to develop?
Well, really, it's tough to play schools like Eastern and Western just because of the connection, like you said, and the relationships that we have with, guys like Eric Roof and Billy Gernon at Western. Those guys were, integral in kind of laying the foundation for what would turn into a Big Ten championship team a few years after they left. Eric was a senior our first year here, and Billy, was our recruiting coordinator for 2 years before he got the job at Western Michigan. And so, without those two guys and the rest of those guys in that senior class that Eric was part of, I don't think we win the Big Ten in 2011. And so those are. Those are two pretty special guys that we've got to we pay attention to a lot. We try to keep in contact with each other as much as we can, especially during the season. And you don't like necessarily competing against them, but right. At the same time, it's probably a necessary evil based on location and where we're at. With both conferences and how midweek games work, and so. It is what it is, and I know when the game starts, we're trying to beat them and they're trying to beat us. But certainly before and after, it always seems to be a little bit awkward, as it should be, I guess.
Well, Coach, we're talking with Jake Boss, head coach at Michigan State, the baseball coach. But Rob and I started this show, Baseball This Week, because we love baseball and we want to talk about baseball. So before we talk about the team this year and what's going on right now as the conference race goes on, but I did want to ask you, as you're sort of a baseball historian because of all your history here in the state of Michigan, both as a high school coach, college coach, and you've been here a little while. Talk about how college baseball has evolved. There was a time, because football and basketball have always had their own, college sports has always been their feeder system for pro basketball and pro football. But baseball and hockey have kind of always, traditionally anyways, historically, have had their own systems, their minor league systems. And college game was sort of looked at one point as a less than, right? If you're a college hockey player, you weren't good enough to play in the Canadian Pro League. If you're a college baseball player, it's because you weren't good enough to be drafted and signed. And, that's changed, though, in the last 20 years, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, to a certain degree. I don't, I think, I don't know that it was ever quite viewed like that, just because the draft was, first of all, it was an unlimited draft back 25 years ago. I mean, teams drafted until they were done drafting,
right?
Which seems crazy now. And then the draft was shortened to 50 rounds, and then it was shortened to 40 rounds, for a long time until COVID hit, and then, obviously went to 5 rounds, and now it's kind of settled in at 40. But I think with more minor league teams that were around back then, and a 50 or a 40 round draft, I mean, I think you saw a lot of guys that were drafted and kind of looked at as guys that maybe could develop in the pro system. And now, obviously, just because of numbers, you don't see much of that or as much of that anymore. And so a lot more of those guys are coming to college, which, obviously is a good thing, for guys like us. But it certainly has, each system is different. And the baseball system has numerous layers you have to go through to get to the big leagues. Hockey's got a couple different layers to get through before you get to the NHL, but it seems like guys, are kind of on a fast track, to get there. You see a lot of young guys in the NHL, and, the NBA's got the development league, and then, above that is the NBA. And so, certainly I think it's a tougher system to get through as far as baseball is concerned. There are more levels, there are more players on rosters, and, I think a lot of that has and will continue to benefit the college game moving forward.
Well, would you say, though, Coach, that the scouts and the pro baseball people consider college players maybe more pro ready than they used to?
Yeah, I think now, especially just because it's a shorter draft, and there are fewer teams, and you can't really roll the dice as much on a projectable guy as you could in the past, because a lot of times those guys they may sign a projection type of a guy, and there may not be a spot on a roster for them. They could sit in the extended spring training, and just kind of wait for somebody to get hurt, for lack of a better term. Whereas before, you could send a kid to extended spring training onto short season ball and really get him a lot of at bats or a lot of innings. And see what happens. And so now I think, we're being, used as far as that, kind of developmental process, which I think is good for our game.
Coach, let's take a look at your team here as you get ready to face Eastern Michigan on Wednesday. One guy I want to really bring up before we talk about the team as a whole is senior outfielder Casey Mays, who hit his 14th career triple last weekend in the series against Illinois. He ties Mike Davidson for the program record, but a senior, this guy's been through the wars at Michigan State. Just talk about his growth and just what type of leader he's been on and off the field for you.
Yeah, Casey's a great competitor. I mean, he's got a lot of at-bats in his career here at Michigan State. He's played a lot of baseball for us, and, he's an extremely hard worker. Physically, he's stronger than an ox, but, hasn't hit many home runs for us, but he runs extremely well. And so that's been a big part of his game, obviously. And for him to set a record here, we've talked about it with our guys an awful lot. I mean, we've been playing baseball here since 1884, and so we're going on, 140 years now. Next season would be the 140th season, I guess, of Spartan baseball. So when you set a record, a career record, that goes back a long way, and that's pretty difficult to do. And so I think Casey deserves a lot of credit for that. He again, really hard worker. He doesn't get his just due defensively, but his game defensively has really picked up this year. He's done a nice job for us out in left field, and again, he's a Spartan through and through. Both his parents were student athletes here at Michigan State, and he bleeds green, and this was for a lot of our guys, just like a lot of our guys, I guess I should say, this was his dream school, and it's fun to watch it. Watch things come to fruition like that for a guy like Casey.
I just want to clear one thing. Jack Ebling was not active when the baseball program started at Michigan State. Can we clear that up, Coach? 140
well,
years.
We're gonna need to see a birth certificate on that one, guys, just to verify it. Yeah.
Now, Casey's mom, you mentioned, she was track and field, right? She was our big.
She was, I believe, she was a high jumper. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask, who's quicker then? Would it be his mom or would it be Casey? Right?
Well, I don't go back that far here in Michigan State, so I'm probably not qualified to answer that question. But my guess would be Casey.
All right, fair enough.
Well, Coach, how is the Big Ten competitive this year? Is it like it usually is? Are there some other teams that are kind of cropping up? Maybe with all the changes in the Big Ten, the new teams, that the powers, do they change at all? Are they pretty consistent?
Well, I mean, it's top to bottom. It's a really competitive league as it has been for a long time now, and. I think we're tied for fourth with a bunch of other teams, and we have 2 big weekends ahead of us with Iowa this weekend on the road, and then with Indiana at home, and both those teams I think have a legitimate chance to win the conference, and I think we do as well. And so it could be any number of teams from the top through probably 7 or 8 right now that are mathematically still alive. And, if you have 2 good weekends, who knows what could happen. So really deep league. The tournament, the Big Ten tournament should be 8 really, really talented teams. And it'll be fun to see how it shakes out.
Well, you're 10-8 in the Big Ten right now, tied for 5th. You got a 13-3 home record. How important is it to maintain that home advantage in baseball?
Well, we love playing at home. Guys are comfortable. Obviously sleeping in their own beds, and you get into a routine at home, and we take a lot of pride in playing at home, and so it's fun to have friends and family here. For that last weekend against Indiana, the weather should be good, and I know being the last weekend, we should have pretty big crowds, and it's always good to see familiar faces, when you are at home, and so again, we take a lot of pride in playing at Cobes Field down at McLean Stadium, and it's something that's pretty special to us.
Well, Coach, we'll let you go. If we could, though, with our new baseball show, if we could keep in touch with you and get you back again as the season winds down to where you're fighting for whatever the championship might be, we'd like to have you back, but we're going to keep close tabs on the program, and the Michigan State baseball program is a big part of what we're going to talk about here on Baseball This Week.
You bet. I appreciate it, guys.
Okay, head coach Jake Boss. We'll talk to him again soon, Rob? And keep an eye on what they're doing. It's fun. It's a great place to watch a baseball game over there on the campus.
Oh, absolutely. And they're 28-16 overall, just for fans knowing. As you mentioned, 10-8 in the Big Ten, currently tied for 5th, and they're playing Iowa, who's now in 4th place as we enter this weekend. So don't look ahead. You don't want to look ahead against Eastern, right? Got to take care of business. But a big series this weekend at Iowa for this team, and what a resilient team. And they are hitting the snot out of the ball. That's what I said it. Hitting the snot out of the ball.
Is that a technical term, Rob,
that is my New England technical term.
You know what I wanted to ask him? We'll ask him next time. I wanted to ask him about the role of metrics and all the new sabermetrics in college baseball initiative. We'll say that for next time, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. You're listening to this Baseball This Week here on the Spotlight Media Network. I'm Jim Stark along with Boston Rob. We'll be right back with more of this week's show.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal made just for you, let our team member Jacob share what's special about Culver's.
In Wisconsin, our food comes from the heart, and taking the time to handcraft your meal with care is how we've always done it at Culver's. It's why your Butterburger doesn't touch the grill until after you order.
Come to Culver's and let us serve you a Butterburger made special just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Time for a career change? Looking to make a difference? Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our dedicated team of school bus professionals. Dean Transportation has immediate openings and offers paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license. With increased starting pay, benefit packages, flexible scheduling with weekday hours, and more, Dean Transportation may be the career choice for you. No experience needed. Apply now and train all summer. Head to deanjobs.com.
April's full of adventure and winning at Firekeepers. It's the Get Out and Go RV giveaway on Saturdays, April 15th and 29th. 2 huge drawing days, $300,000 in prizes, including a fully loaded motor coach and more. The first big drawings are on Saturday, April 15th. You could win a pop-up camper, a deluxe travel trailer, or thousands in Red Hot credits to spin and win some more. On April 29th, you can win a share of $55,000 in Red Hot credits, a pop-up camper, a travel trailer, or the grand prize, a motor coach RV. It's the $300,000 Get Out and Go RV giveaway on Saturdays, April 15th and 29th. The best giveaways, the biggest guaranteed prizes, only at Firekeepers. Get your Vegas on at Firekeepers Casino Hotel, I-94 to exit 104 in Battle Creek. Management reserves all rights.
Welcome back to our final segment of today's Baseball This Week. I'm Jim Stark along with Boston Rob and the across the glass and in the booth, keeping all on the – I can't say on the air anymore, can I? On the digital? What do I say?
Nah, you can say
on the
air.
computer?
Yeah,
okay.
on the computer. Right. Hey, whatever you want. This is your show. You know what I mean?
Well, I know, but you've yelled at me before off the air for saying something wrong, Rob. Let's put the truth out there. Well, you run this show, Rob.
I cannot confirm nor deny.
All right. Thanks for Jake Boss being a part of the show. Very interesting. I knew it would be, though, as I've heard him before with you and Jack. But we'll make him a part of this show because
absolutely he's done great things. Well, he's done great things off the field and on the field for Michigan State baseball, and what a season they're having.
And he's a baseball veteran here in the state of Michigan.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Let's go to our segment where we kind of look at what's coming up and do some of our features. But why don't we go right to our baseball? First, I want to do a new feature, Rob. We didn't do it last week because we weren't ready.
What do you
got? We're going to do our Prep Player of the Week.
Okay, who do we got?
Okay, we've got Tristan Cupp from Perry High School, the Perry Ramblers.
Hey, my wife's went to Perry High School. Go Ramblers.
Okay, go Ramblers. Well, Tristan Cupp is our first Prep Star of the Week here on our Baseball This Week, and he's opened the season. He's hitting .592 with 27 RBIs.
Not a bad stat line one bit.
Should we call Jake Boss and ask him if he's gone and seen? I bet he's seen him play. What do you bet?
I was gonna say, I'm sure not only Jake Boss has seen him play. I'm sure quite a few coaches have taken a look at that young man.
Okay, so congratulations to Tristan Cupp from the Perry High School Ramblers, who's our initial Prep Star of the Week, and we're gonna try to have one every week until the baseball season's over at the high school level. So, all right, let's go to our baseball 3 up, 3 down for the Tigers this week. Okay,
what do you got?
All right, 3 up. I got to go with Andy Ibanez as my first up. He's really started to get the groove. He's only been in the major leagues for 2 years. He only came over from Cuba, I think, 2 years ago. Has not had a lot of at bats at the major league level, but he's hitting line drives and he's playing second and third with a very, very sound defensive game. He's a breath of fresh air, and I think he's solidly in the middle of why this team is doing better.
All right. Well, we'll see if he can do it for the rest. Now, consistency is going to be the question,
of course.
right?
Well, Sparky has always said, give me 40 games. After 40 games,
then we'll know.
I will judge this team.
Yep.
Don't ask me till 40 games. Okay. Well, they're coming pretty close to that 40-game mark.
All right.
Right? And so let's do that. Let's use that 40-game mark. Next week we'll be past 40 games.
Okay.
So we'll do a little bit more of a
we'll
quarter.
Grade? We'll give a little grade?
It's the quarter post mark of the first,
Right.
But Andy Ibanez on the 3-up.
Okay.
Secondly, Javi Baez. Again, we talked about him earlier.
Got to.
He's defensively, offensively, not striking out, and he's being very consistent defensively. It's what you need in a leader.
Absolutely.
So we're going to give him one of our 3-ups. And the third, I've already talked about it, but I can't tell you how refreshing it is to see a relief pitcher, a closer, who comes in and does nothing but throw strikes.
Yeah.
Right? The other day came in to close the game, gave a double on the first hitter, proceeded to strike out the next 3 hitters. There was no drama. There was no, I was going to, and that's Alex Lang, who's now got 6 saves. And get this, his ERA is
minuscule, right?
1.13.
Yeah.
That's what you want out of your closer.
Like I said earlier, all-star caliber.
Yep. So a great start for those 3 this week. They lead our 3-up, our 3-down this week. I'm kind of sad about this one because there's some names on this list that we expect.
Maybe we should start with the 3-down
yes,
on our
let's
next
do
show.
That.
We
want
to end on a high note.
Let's
know what
do
I'm
that.
saying?
Good idea, Rob. We'll switch it next week.
That's why they pay me the bucks here.
But the first one of my 3-downs got to be Miguel Cabrera. He did get a hit last night, but he's just it's. Listen,
I hear this all the time with you and Jack.
But hang on. I'm a Miguel Cabrera guy when he was an MVP.
Of course, everybody was.
And to see him, he played 1 year too long. Okay, he's not anywhere near even a productive.
you're going back to the well, right? Don't tell me that you and Jack don't bring this up every time.
No, but
Jack's show's coming up. You're going to be on it.
Well,
are we going to talk about this again?
He's one of my 3-down.
I understand.
You can't argue with that, can you?
Can you give the guy a
pass? All right, Rob.
Can you just give the guy a pass?
In respect to you, I will no longer count Miguel Cabrera on my 3-down, no matter what he does the rest of the year. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, second on the list.
Hall of Famer, come on.
I know.
I'm not disagreeing that he should have stepped away earlier.
I've officially removed him from my 3-down list.
All right, I appreciate it. All right.
Secondly, this guy's not getting removed. Jonathan Scope. He's making $10 million, and his game is just evaporated.
Yeah.
And they expected at least a productive hitter out of him. Right now, I think he's probably the first on my list of who they might get rid of.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
This is a team that's won 6 out of 7, and we're finding issues. But I guess
there's
there's still issues.
There's 3.
There's 3. I understand.
Is he not down, or is he?
Oh, he's down. Yeah,
right,
I agree with that.
Then he's on my list.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, finally, Chasen Shreve, who started out the year really solid. He's a veteran pitcher. He was in the Met system for a long time. But the last 4 or 5 outings, his ERA has ballooned to 6.18. And he's got a 1-2 record as a relief pitcher. When you have 2 losses as a relief pitcher, what does that tell you? You're giving up games late.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So, hey, listen, I got to find 3-down. These are my 3-down.
All right. Well, the next show, we're starting with 3-down, and we're ending with 3-up.
And who will not be on my 3-down list no matter what they do?
Miguel Cabrera.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Let's look at the week coming up now with these Detroit Tigers, Rob. And first, you got your 30 seconds on your Boston Red Sox. I don't want to end the show without talking about that.
Well, what can I say? They're hitting, they're pitching, and like you said, one of the hottest teams in baseball. But I know all these Detroit Tiger fans here in Michigan don't want to hear about the Red Sox.
Well, they spanked.
So go right ahead.
They spanked the Tigers in their early season series. What's the key to what? Specifically, who are the guys? Rafael Devers. I know Rafael
Devers.
Give me some other names.
It's the pitching. Chris Sale has come back from injury.
Really?
He had a tremendous.
Chris Sale. He's like 6'5" and weighs 112 pounds.
Right, and he's like 105 years old.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, but it's much like the Tigers. It's the young pitching coming through that was a question mark, and they're not hitting the ball at a high rate. But, boy, they're just getting key hits. It's like looking in a mirror with the Detroit Tigers.
Their hits are productive.
Their hits are productive, so we'll see what continues. But I'm anxious to hear, and I'm sure our listeners are anxious to hear what you think of the Detroit Tigers' upcoming schedule here.
Well, they've, as I've mentioned earlier, they got the Cleveland Guardians. I almost said Indians. I almost said it, Rob,
you're not alone.
And
you're
I caught it. I caught it.
Well done.
The
That's why you're the professional.
The
of this
Cleveland
group.
Guardians are here, or they're in Cleveland for 2 more games today. They play an early game at 6:10.
Yep.
And then tomorrow they finish up on the afternoon side, 1:10.
Yep.
Then they come home. Seattle and Pittsburgh.
How
Now
about
the Pittsburgh Pirates.
How about them?
Well,
you talk about surprises.
But they've lost 8 of the last 9.
Yeah.
So maybe they're getting them. Maybe that
it all comes around.
That early season rush of luck or adrenaline is wearing off. But Seattle,
it's a long season.
I
my
picked
friend.
Seattle to be one of my wild card teams. So they will not be easy. But if they can win the last 2 in Cleveland and go into Seattle series.
Well, on the road,
at 500.
Yeah.
And only maybe say a game or a game and a half out of first place. I think that's at the 40-game mark, Rob. I will be thrilled.
Sure. And why wouldn't you be? I mean, when you go on the road, you want to try to take 2 out of 3. A sweep would be nice, but that's the mentality they got to have on the road now.
That's right. Well, if they only take one of the next 2, they're still coming home, and I'm really happy.
Absolutely.
But
I said on the last show, on the first show, and I got some tweets coming back at me, are the Detroit Tigers overachieving right now?
Oh, they are, absolutely, I think.
I agree, yes.
But you know what? Good teams do.
Yeah.
It's rare.
And they're developing. You're getting the best of both worlds. They're winning, and the development is starting.
Well,
you're starting to see it.
When they say they're playing over their head, Javi Baez is a talented player. He's not playing over his head.
But half of these guys, half of these guys you could argue should still be in the minor leagues.
Well,
correct. Half of these guys got rushed up there just because of necessity.
Well, Matt Verley, we had no idea what they have. Nicholas Baton, we have no idea what they have. They've been productive.
So they're getting experience, they're young, and they're developing, and they're winning.
Here's the biggest key. The thing that all those fans could feel good about, the ones that were sending you, is that when guys like Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson are in the middle of this, that's the future.
Yeah, they're the cornerstone.
Alex Lang.
I'm not saying future. I'm saying present.
Right.
They are the present right now.
They aren't a guy. They're not
2 or 3 years down the road.
Yeah.
They are the faces right now.
And that's what I feel good about. Jonathan or Alex Lang is a young arm, right?
Yeah.
Now, how about Joey Wentz, who is a young arm winning yesterday, pitching? Now with Rodriguez. The big question is going to be, and I know we have to get going pretty quick here, Rob.
Yep.
But the question is going to be if he continues to pitch like he is. Okay.
Well, that's what they paid him for.
Okay, but here's going to be the question, Rob, and you and I will debate this starting next week. Hang on. Do they consider moving him for more assets, or because he's got to opt out at the end of this year?
I mean, we're
put that in the back of your brain. We need to talk about that coming because that could be a real debate as the trading deadline starts to come near.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right. So the Detroit Tigers, as we sit today, Tuesday afternoon, believe it or not, again, if you haven't been paying attention or just tuning in, as they say, they are just 2 games under 500. They are coming into 2 more games with the Cleveland Guardians, who are very, very beatable, if you will, and have every chance of coming home to play Seattle at a 500 mark and maybe just a game or so out of 500. So where they were, listen, they started the season 2-8, Rob, 2-8. They're 15-10 since then. So if I can have 15-10, I'm happy.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, Rob. Listen. We had to kind of cut things short today. We had to kind of jumble a little bit, but we got our second show out of the way. I think another good one. I want to thank Jake Boss for joining us. We want to thank the Tigers for giving us good discussion topics as they continue to show they can be a winning team, at least in the short term. How about the Boston Red Sox giving Rob a little bit of happiness? We'll come back next week with more Baseball This Week, heard right here on the Spotlight Media Network.